Good morning. It's Monday, August 23rd, 2021, and I wanted to shoot this video. Today we seem to have a hummingbird in here. See him floating around up there? I've had to leave a garage door open and the other door open. So hopefully he might escape, but they're pretty dumb and they seem to want to always try to go out the skylights, which are of course fixed. So hopefully he'll survive long enough to get out the way he came in. They're kind of bird-brained, I think. Anyway, I was thinking about shooting this video on my Chevy Bolt right here. On the weekend, but during the weekend, although we live way out in the country, it seems like all the motorcyclists love to go for rides out in the country on the weekends, so you constantly hear the roar of motorcycles going up and down the highway, even though the highway is about a quarter mile away. It's kind of annoying. I'm not a real fan of these folks. I wish they would all get electric motorcycles. Anyway, I wanted to shoot a video because last Friday GM announced they had extended the recall on Chevrolet Bolts to include all Chevrolet Bolts, I guess, up to 2022 models to fix the battery issue. And the story, right as of now, is potentially they will, especially on the older Chevrolet Bolts, they'll replace the entire battery pack. And I think the reason for that is up to through 2019, Chevrolet Bolts had a 60 kilowatt hour battery pack, and in 2020 GM went to a 66 kilowatt hour battery pack. And you can't just jerk out a couple modules out of a 60 kilowatt hour battery pack and replace them with modules that go to a 66 kilowatt hour battery pack, because the whole pack wouldn't be balanced and the BMS wouldn't be able to deal with it. So there is a great potential for, I haven't got a recall notice yet, by the way, but there is a really good potential here that if I get a recall notice and I bring my car in, that I could get the entire battery pack in my car replaced with a 66 kilowatt hour battery pack, which would increase my range up to about 260 miles over the about 240 miles of range. So I think this would be quite a coup. And I just, it's taken me a few days to assimilate in this whole changing landscape of this battery recall and how I feel about it. And to be honest with you, I'm not overly worried about it. And that's why I wanted to shoot this video, to explain the reasons why I'm not worried about it. The first thing is defects in the battery packs have to be, in my mind, logically speaking, have to be relegated to a small percentage of the Chevrolet Bolts. If every Chevrolet Bolt ever made had a defective battery packs in it, then you would hear about hundreds and hundreds of Chevrolet Bolt fires. They would not only recall them immediately, they'd send out a stop driving order if this was the case. GM and LG Chem's liability here is just tremendous. I guess it's adding up to about $2 billion right now. So and we've only had 10 Chevrolet Bolt fires that I know about out of 170,000 vehicles. And if you work the math, the percentages are incredibly small. It's way below 1%. I'm not going to bore you with the numbers right now. But anyway, and in my mind, also, I think if you have a Chevrolet Bolt that is performing normally, and by that I mean it appears to be a healthy battery, and it's charging up. It can charge up fully, and when even at 90% charge, it's got good range, the expected range, or greater, then and you have a healthy battery. I think by definition that probably means you don't have a defect in your battery or any of your cells or modules or however you would term it. So I'm not saying this is determinative, this isn't the way to diagnose it, but I'm just saying in my mind, our car seems to be, I've gotten up to, I'm averaging 121 miles per gallon out of the thing right now, which is above average. And I've gotten up to 160 miles per gallon in certain circumstances, so equivalent. So, and everything I see tells me that we have a nice healthy battery. It not only charges up well, it's got the cooling system works in it, and it performs really well. It regains energy when it regens, and it gets up to speed with alacrity. So that's all I wanted to say. I'm actually kind of excited. I view this whole thing as a positive. I might end up with a $21,000 2019 Chevrolet Bolt that only had 9,000 miles on it when I got it. And by the time I get it in for a battery swap, it could have 20,000 miles on it. Now I might get a brand new battery pack has 8% more capacity, more range, and will be fully warranted for 8 years or 100,000 miles, tacked on to the 20,000 I already have on the vehicle. So I don't see this as the glass is half empty and woe is me and everything's negative about it. Now, do I like it? No, I don't like the anxiety that's attendant with having a car that you're concerned about. Will it catch on fire? But I know mathematically and percentage-wise that these chances of this fire in this car, a battery pack fire, are probably far less than this gas vehicle over here. And if I do get a fire out here in this car, I'm going to blame it on the gas vehicle. I'm going to tell the insurance company my gas truck caught on fire, and then set the electric car on fire. See how they like that. But anyway, we have a detached garage. It's not, the house is quite a bit a ways from the garage. You can see our house out there. And my charger, of course, is rigged up in the garage. I like to charge the car not during the peak heat of the day normally, although the weather is beginning to cool off here in late August. So I charge it inside, although I did move the charger slightly. I could potentially park the car on the apron on the entryway to the garage and reach the charge port. But this whole thing about as soon as I charge the car, park it outside. I didn't build a $7,000 garage to park my car outside all the time. And same thing, I think if you're taking good care of your battery, you're following their recommendations, which, by the way, I think charging to 90% and only driving down to 70 miles is a good recommendation for battery health in any electric vehicle, generally. And I don't see a problem with it. It's not an inconvenience. Now, if I was taking a trip, I would still charge to 100%, and I might drive down to 10% on a trip. I'm just saying, but for local driving, I'm not inconvenienced by this recommendation at all, as I see it. And so these are my thoughts on the battery recall. You can take them with a grain of salt. I'm not a battery expert or anything. I don't have any special insights anyone else might have. One other thing I wanted to report, and I did this thing on the wheel covers. Some of you may remember it from another video where I put these black chloroplast wheel covers on my tires, and I drove for a while. I didn't see any discernible difference in MPG or performance. That's number one. But the reason I took them off was because somehow, some way, they were messing with the TPMS system. I had valve core extensions on them so I could air up the tires, and I just kept having problems with the TPMS system. It kept sending me false messages that I had a low tire and so forth. And so finally I ended up taking a tire off. I had to take a wheel cover off to take the tire to a tire shop, and they said there's nothing wrong with it, there's no leak. And at that point I said, the hell with it, and I took them all off. And since I took them all off, and the valve core, valve stem extensions, I've had no further TPMS problems. So that's the short story on that. And but otherwise, we've been enjoying the car. We've owned it since May 29th, and there it sits, printing money. It's not on fire. It's not smoking up my garage. I'm even thinking of getting the decal. It says caution fire hazard. I was originally thinking of getting a decal that said fusion powered, but what the hell, might as well go with it. We'll see you on down the road, everybody. Everyone take care. Happy electrons. As we like to joke around, we get in the car and we start it. We like to say, I love the smell of electrons in the morning. Smells like victory. I hope you do too. Bye-bye, everybody.